Hi everyone, welcome back again to Politics Today. We've been interpreting on this hot topic, the electricity tariff increase. They tell us it has increased, but I have a different term for that. I call it skyrocketing or ascension. But we're going to start today by listening to what they have to say at TVC. I'll listen to TVC and then we're going to come back and we're going to interpret for them, and then we'll listen to other video clips and we also interpret for them. So
Without speaking like a clairvoyant or psychic, I dare to say that a hike in the electricity tariff was coming. Bigger electricity consumers, at least I should tell you, those listed as Band A customers are to pay more for electricity consumption. Band A are customers enjoying a 20-hour supply of power every day. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, announced the increase on Wednesday. As it stands, the new tariff is fixed at 225 naira, up from 66 naira per kilowatt of electricity, an increase of about 300%. We have...
All right, so an increase of about 300%. So let's do that math for them, because I know they say it's an increase of about 300%, but how much exactly is that? How much exactly is that? So let's do the math together and then we continue to interpret for him. So you were paying 66 naira per kilowatt of electricity, and today it has increased to 225. That gives you a 341% increase. Ladies and gentlemen, this is overnight increase. It's not cumulative, it's not over time. It is an overnight increase. Does that call something to memory? Do you remember May 29th, 2023? You were paying 198 naira per liter of fuel. The next morning, May 30th, you were paying 560, in some places 600, in some places 700 per liter. One night, just like that. So that brings the question, what did the Nigerian people do to this government? I'm waiting for an answer. What did they do to this government to deserve this kind of punishment? Overnight, they will tell us it's just 1% of the people that will be affected. But you know how these things work. That the ripple effect and the trickle down effect, because it will affect the other things. So if you're charging these guys that are paying 66 per hour and you per kilowatt hour, and you're giving them about 20 hours, these people are probably people that have companies, right? They have industries. When you ask them to pay more, they will ask the consumers to pay more so they can meet the demands. And when they can't pay that much, they will close down shop. When they close down shop, they will lay people off. When they lay people off, you have more people on the street that have no job, more unemployment. More unemployment gives room for more chances, more chances for vices. When people go into vices, criminality increases. Do you see the ripple effect? May 29th last year, people have not even recovered from that. The cost of things kept going up from May 29th of last year. And right now, you're adding more to it. What do the people do? I watched one guy who says he doesn't care. He wants the people to suffer and even die so that next time they probably get sense. We're going to get to that. But we've done the analysis. We've done the interpretation here. The cost is too much. This is not an increase. An increase is going from 66 to 70, 66 to 80. That's an increase. Going from 66 to 225 is not an increase. That's skyrocketing. That's an ascension. And you telling us it was subsidy. We heard that the electricity sector was privatized. The amount that these guys paid to acquire the shares or to acquire these this industry is far less than you guys claim you're paying them in subsidy. Who is really deceiving who? If I sell this phone to you at a subsidy, as if I privatize it and sold it to you at, let's say, 2 million naira, and then I have to pay you 3 million naira to use it. What happened? Did I really? What is this? Who's deceiving who? And we just keep quiet. I'm not calling for anything. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We just keep quiet. Do we deserve what we're getting, or is it just that? Is this just what it is? We're gonna listen to another clip. We're gonna listen to another clip, and you're gonna see this one just blows my mind in so many places. We're gonna listen to another clip, and we're gonna come back and interpret for them. So let's go ahead and listen to them.
As a way of protecting consumers.
The NERC service-based tariff scheme, introduced on the 1st of November 2020, classifies consumers based on the number of hours of electricity supply per day. And that includes Band A, minimum of 20 hours, Band B, minimum of 16 hours, Band C, minimum of 12 hours, Band D, minimum of 8 hours, and Band E, minimum of 4 hours.
All right, so you heard that. So let's just keep that on the screen so you can see right there, right? You can see. Where is it? Yeah, you can see that, right? Let's just digest that. People can actually get 4 hours of electricity per day, and this is if you get it, because don't let that minimum deceive you. This is if you get it, because in some places you can be 2 days without power of any kind, 2 full days, 3 days no power of any kind, not even full or half, nothing. It can be 3 days, 4 days, no power. In a week, you see it sometime. There are places for a week they have no power. And the funny thing is that some of these people already paid for prepaid meter, which means it's pay as you go. So they've already paid for what they're going to use. It's not postpaid, it's prepaid. They've paid for what they want to use, but they don't even see the power. And some places you paid for the prepaid meter, and then they will give you a postpaid meter, but you've paid for prepaid meter. So you don't get a meter and you get an estimated bill. And what it means is that at the end of the month, they'll give you any amount they think that you've consumed. They'll just pull the numbers from the thing, tell you, oh, people should have TV, they should have fridge, they should have this, and therefore this is how much we think you should have consumed. But I paid for prepaid, so I can use what I want to use. Even if I have TV and I have radio, I can decide to run them in sequence, not in power. I can switch on one and switch it off and put on the other one. But the power is there for me to manage. No, I will tell you how much an average household should have, and you should have it because, I mean, we pay you 33,000 a month. Is it just because we're charging you 20,000 for the electricity alone? You still have 13,000. Oh, okay. You're saying you cannot buy a bag of rice? How much is a bag of rice? By the way, is it not only 65,000? We're paying you 33,000. You should be able to buy a bag of rice, a bag of beans, transport yourself to work, pay your children's school fees from the 33,000. You're only taking out 200,000 for your children's school fees. You're taking out 65,000 for your bag of rice, right? You take out 25,000 for electricity, and you eat and everything. The 3,000, you still have something left. No, you're not a thief like the rest of them that get prayer in their mailboxes. Oh, you're saying that those numbers are more than 33,000? The people are really suffering. And we are voted one of top 10. We are voted top 10 happiest countries on earth. How these people are surviving, how these my people are surviving, is just a miracle. I don't know how these my people are surviving. It's nothing short of a
This
miracle.
government
We're gonna listen to this guy who is obviously trying to solidify his position. The appointment he was given, because our people, right? It's all psychophancy. You want to just stay there and psych up the person that gave you the position so that they can keep you there, or maybe you can get another one in the future. Just let's listen to this guy. It takes some patience. Please be patient with him and just listen to him.
are confident that we have reposed in this government. This government was voted in democratically based on the trust and confidence of the electorate. The can-do spirit that you observed in Mr. President is still there. He has done it elsewhere before now in Lagos State, and we hope and we believe that he's going to replicate the same at the federal level together with his hardworking team.
All right, so let's interpret for this guy. Number one, he says that this government was voted in democratically. Some people might beg to differ because we saw what happened during the election. It was almost like option A4. If you guys remember option A4, where you start from your word and you keep coming. By the time you get to the fourth round, if you already won in the A1, your local area, and then you just keep going, keep progressing. In those days of SDP and NRC, that's what it reminds me of this last election, because the people spoke loudly, and in local places where the votes were cast, as the votes were coming in, the people were shouting, the numbers, and celebrating because a particular candidate was winning in those areas. But we know that even on IREV today, the results that they have published is different from what they have on IREV, which is the election viewing portal, which shows that in River State, a different party won, even though INEC announced something else. And Wiki has told us about what happened. He told us that betrayal and politics are the same father and mother. His own mouth. So he knows what he did. We heard his audio threatening people, allegedly threatening people that they will not leave River State alive if they do not change the results the way he wanted. Allegedly, the audio was out there. So we know what they did. We know what they did in Benue. We know what they did in Lagos. We know what they did in different states. And we know what the justices did. The justices, I have to do air quotes here. We know what they did with the Constitution when it comes to clear statements, which they were already touting before the election. We know how they changed their positions. There's one lady, I think is Ruth Kedira or so. I want her to come out and say something about this, because she was on the news touting that you have to win, you have to get 25% in Abuja, otherwise you do not win. I want her to come out and say something again, because many people talked about it before the election. But when it turns out the other way around, everybody zipped their mouth because they thought a particular candidate will easily get that because they were in power. But when the people show them that that's not how it works. So when these guys are telling us that this government was voted in democratically, we'll just take that with a pinch of salt. And I mean, the Supreme Court has spoken. Who are we to say anything? But we these guys, this is the same Supreme Court that said Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer, and they're still holding him to today. This country, you just have to choose where to stand. But I'm just going to leave that because it's a topic for another day, because I'm seeking for an opportunity to talk to the British people to find out if this guy is actually their citizen or not. Because if it is, I wonder if they heard Tony Blair in another country just like that, if they would just keep quiet. If they heard Boris Johnson in another country just like that, if they would just keep quiet, or something else, maybe I don't understand. I'm just going to leave that as it is right now. What these guys are doing is just, I don't know, that country. So my question to this guy is, what is the position of this thing you're talking about now? Why are you telling us about these people being democratically elected or not being democratically elected? Who cares? Who asked you that question? But he's just leave for another position. So let's look at the independence of regulators, because that's one of the things he mentioned here, which some of them, that these guys are lying. We're going to listen for about a minute or so and then we'll come back and interpret for him. So let's just listen.
We also must ensure that the regulators are independent and there is consequence management for non-compliance by the operators in terms of punishment meted out to non-compliant power sector player, be it a distribution company, a transmission company, or any of the rating companies. Then the last one.
All right. So okay, let's listen to the last one.
At the ministry is consumer protection and value for money. Whatever consumer pays for, there must be commensurate value for it.
All right, so let's just give him this one. So we need to advocate for consumer protection. This is what is not done in this country. If you have more power, you have more right. You can do whatever. Nobody will hold you accountable. So hopefully we'll get that. So let's give them that. Let's see them implement that. But what we cannot give them is these guys, telling us you have to be, there has to be value for money. We know that that's not the truth. We know that's not the truth. You will pay for it and you will not see it. People paid for prepaid meter, they're still using postpaid meter to today. And you're talking about regulation and all that. If they put the regulation in place, if the big guy flaunts the law, nothing will happen. The court says release somebody, he has no case to answer, they're still holding him years later. And each time they bring him to court, they're spending 500 million, they said. But you're holding him against the law. You're breaking the law to do what? So we know that doesn't happen in that country. It's a banana republic, they say. Nobody can hold the people in power to account. So he's just saying, let's just listen again. Just listen.
Protection punishments meted out to non-compliant power sector player.
All right. So let's just interpret that section. Punishment meted out to power supply players who are non-compliant. I think that's what they should have started before the increase. They should have done their work, make sure that there's power. If I become a minister of power today, the first thing I will do is to increase my supply, my distribution, my production, first of all, generation, the transmission and the distribution. Make sure that it is available. And then you can talk about increasing the tariff. These guys borrow for anything. They borrow to buy cars for anybody. But they won't build the roads. And you ask them, why are you buying these cars? Why can't you buy from Innocent or other local manufacturers? They say, oh, the roads are bad. Why don't you fix the roads? Oh, but we want to build a road going to Nigerian Republic, to another country. So why are you asking us to fix the one within our country? But that's why you're going to drive. No, we don't have to. We can just fix the one going to Nigerian Republic. So when we retire, we can go to Nigerian Republic and leave. Why? Is it because you're making the country unlivable in that you are preparing to run away to another country? You see what these people are doing? Borrow, invest it in power. I heard that the amount these people are spending on religious subsidies, religious pilgrimage subsidies, if they use this amount, the amount they spent in 1 year, they can replicate what we have in Abia State in four states. And then if you do in 9 states, and if you do that for 4 years, you will get what they have in Abia State in 36 states. I'm saying 36, even though Abia already has one, but 36 because now they've made Abuja a state, right? So you can get that in all the states of the country, including FCT. The amount they're spending on religious pilgrimage this year alone, you can replicate what they have in Abia in the 36 states in 4 years. So by the time they are leaving power, every state would have one. Religious pilgrimages, I'm not against people going for religious pilgrimage, but those are supposed to be funded from the pocket of the guy who wants to go. If you want to be called a JP, a Jerusalem pilgrimage or pilgrim, pay from your pocket. If you want to be called another religion, because I don't know what I'm going to say, and somebody will try to take down my channel, but if you want to be called another name by another religion, pay from your pocket, because that's what the religion said. Christianity didn't say that. None of the traditionalists will say, pay for us to go to visit, what's it called? Amadioha in Agbayan Chokoro. Nobody says that. And no religion says you should pay for them. The government should pay for them. So why are we not doing this thing to favor the people? Put power, generate power. Let the people have the power before you talk about increasing the tariff. So this is one of the things that when I think about this country, I'm just wondering, who are these guys? Who are these people in power? Who are these people in authority? Like, do they really care about the people? Do they? Do they care about the people they're supposed to be leading? Do they care about the people? So let's just listen to another section before we switch. Yeah, we're gonna stay on with this guy for a little while. To be frank, let's just stay with him for a little while. Let's listen.
In a short while, this tariff review is in conformity with our policy trust of maintaining a subsidized pricing regime in the short run or in the short time, with a transition plan to achieving a full cost-reflective tariff for the sector over, say, a period of 3 years.
All right. Let's put this side by side, because I want you to be looking at the face of this guy when I'm talking to you. I don't know if you heard what this guy said. This guy said what we're doing now is just the tip of the iceberg. Over the next 3 years, we'll have a full cost reflective tariff. Now, mind you, he said that the subsidy they're paying, I don't know if we didn't play it now, but he said in that broadcast, it was about, they're paying about 70% in subsidy. So you're paying only 30%. We don't even know what the real amount is. So you can do the math yourself. So you're paying 30%, they're paying 70%. So whatever you paid, that's 66, it's just 30%. So like, just say there's still another 70%, you know. So but let's just take, we'll do the math. We'll do the math towards the end to show you the exact amount, you know, and we'll see how this what he's saying is in place. So let's say this is funny. Okay, let's do the math now. Why not? Let's do the math, and then we'll continue, because I just want to talk about something that he said now, and we need to take him seriously. We need to take him seriously, guys. We need to let's interpret for him, and then we'll do the math. Okay, this guy says what you're seeing now is the tip of the iceberg. In 3 years, so if you don't know, this is 2024. In 3 years, that'll be 2027. Ding ding, election year. He's saying in the next election year, your life will be so miserable, because you remember you were already not able to afford a bag of rice. 65,000 naira. You getting 33,000. So it will take you 2 months to get enough money to buy a bag of rice, and then you have a change of 1,000. So that 2 months you wouldn't have taken any transportation, you wouldn't have paid any electricity bill or anything. You're just saving to buy one bag of rice. Your children going to school. Why do they need to go to school? There's no job, so they might as well stay at home, right? So your kids will stay at home. They don't need to go to school. There's no job. There's no security. If they go to school, someone will come. Some guys will come. The government say these guys are not from the country, but they will come, drive in a bus to the school, and take 278 of them, drive them to the bush, and government will pay subsidy and get them out, or pay ransom to get them out. But why do you want to go through that heartache? So you don't have to send your kids to school. I mean, let them stay home, right? Because you're making 33,000. How much you have to pay for them to go to school? You know, you can't buy their school uniform. You can't pay for the fees that they pay at school. So your kids should stay at home, right? They didn't say that with words. They say that with actions. So 33,000, that's what you make a month. Now, you remember what I said before the election. When people tell you who they are, believe them. The problem we have is that we don't believe these guys. We think they're lying to us. Or we think, oh, nobody will be that serious. Listen, when someone says snatch it, grab it, run with it, believe them. When you ask someone, what are you going to do for us? And they say, we have no plan, nothing. It's just a milocon. Believe them. Are you hearing that one? Believe them. When people tell you we have no plan, no plan. What are you going to do about insecurity? Nothing. Believe them. The other guy, they say, what are you going to do about insecurity? He says, first of all, I will deal with it. I'll tackle it head on. We know where these guys are because, yes, Sheikh Gumi told us that they have 160 leaders in the country and we know them. Sheikh Gumi told us. DSS can go to Sheikh Gumi and say, this is too much. Show us these leaders if you're the only one that knows them. You go and grab these leaders and ask them why they're terrorizing the country. The thing you did to Sunday Igboho, remember Sunday Igboho? For fighting for his people, going to the bush and saying, this guy's coming to kidnap our people and hiding in our bushes. We need to get you out. And you guys went after Sunday Igboho that he had to escape the country. But these guys that he was chasing in the bush, you say you know them, 160 of them, but you wouldn't do nothing. Come closer. Who did this to us? So you know how to go after Igboho. The other guy, Nnamdi Kanu, says, what you guys are doing, he says he's fighting for everybody. What you guys are doing is not right. You go after him. He's still in prison. Even though the Supreme Court says he has no case to answer, he's still there. He's still being held there. You know how to get Nnamdi Kanu. You know how to get Sunday Igboho. You know how to get Showore. But these other 160 people whose job is to terrorize the country, you say you know them, but you do nothing. Nothing. You know, sometimes like you just speak like Martin Luther King. I've been at the mountaintop. There's nothing more to see. Because what you guys know is just bloodshed and threats for life, to take life. Threat to take life. Just make people's lives miserable. That's all you guys do. I doubt if you guys have conscience. This guy told us at the beginning of this broadcast that these people were elected democratically. Democracy is supposed to be a government of the people, for the people, by the people. Let's do something for the people for once. You know, my church here, they started a sermon series today called Us, focusing about what Christ has done in us, for us, with us, in us, on us. Us. Can we do something for the people? For once, for the people. Not lining your pocket. For the people. All of you that are stealing the people blind, you know that your children don't amount to anything, right? You know. Because if they do, we should be hearing about other your kids now. Some of you have been in power or in the corridors of power since the 80s, since we were born. But we don't hear about your children. You know why? Because everything you're stealing, the people you are killing, the repercussion is on your children. Everything a man sows, he reaps. It is real. God cannot be mocked. So everything you guys are doing are coming back on your children. That's why your children can never amount to something big. Why? Because you killed others to get to where you are. And even where you are, you're shaky. Those of you in the 80s, I mean, in your real age, not your football age, but those of you in your 80s, if we give you another 20 years, if you're still around, you wouldn't even know what is happening. And half of those, you wouldn't even know what is happening. People in the West, especially in Europe, many of them that are making policies for the future have no children, but they're making policies for the living in the future. Emmanuel Macron, Theresa May, and the rest of them, they don't have their own biological children, but they're thinking about the future. But you guys have children that will live in that future. And all you do is to borrow debts that they cannot pay. They will never be able to pay. And when you borrow it, you're not investing it. Nobody's against borrowing. I've borrowed, done business, received dividend, paid back my debt, and still have profit. So people borrow. But you guys, you borrow and just buy cars, or you borrow and send prayer to your mailboxes. That's all you do. That's all you do. Look at this guy. So what you guys are doing, I just feel so bad in so many ways. I feel so bad in so many ways. And it seems that like there's no hope. It seems as if there's no hope for that country. So we're gonna go and listen to this guy one more time because there's a lot of things he said, and I just really believe that we need to do a little bit more. We need to do better than what we're doing right now. So this guy tells us that in 3 years' time, they're gonna come back and they're gonna offer you a noodle. They're gonna offer you this, and they're gonna offer you 5 of this to buy another 4 years from you, because your life will be so miserable at that point that 5,000 naira and in noodle, just one pack like this, will serve you for another 4 years. Your life will be so miserable that you won't even think. You will just want to get that because, you know, a bird at hand. At least when you eat that, at least you live for a few more hours. But so as you making the sacrifice to say enough is enough, we need to get real government in power that think about the people so that your life in the long run will be better. I'm going to show you a chart about the exchange rate, how the exchange rate has evolved over time. But we'll get to that in a moment. So let's just go to another portion of what this guy said that is so funny. That sounds like it makes sense until you listen again and you realize what this guy is saying, right? So let's listen to him because, I mean, people should just come home, flip on the switch, and there's power. But it doesn't happen. So let's listen to this guy.
To the consumers. So we're not sleeping. We are living up to our responsibilities too. But the problem with power is the moment the consumer cannot stand up, switch on the light, and the light shows up, we are not doing anything. So
yeah, that's what you should do actually. When the consumer switches on the light, it should see the power. So that's what you should be doing. Fixing. If I am the minister of power, that's the first thing I'll do. Make sure there's generation, there's transmission, there's distribution. Fix all the failing lines. Do what they're doing in Abia State, in all the states. Once you have it available, remove all those roadblocks. That's what you should do. That's what happens in the West. That's what happens in the whole world. And that's what is going to be happening in Abia State soon. And that should happen in Nigeria too. This is 2024. This is what should be happening everywhere in the world. If you're not doing that, you're not doing anything. Because all you do is just hike prices. And they have hiked it more than several times over the last couple of years. Over the last few years. So now I'm going to play something to you what he said again about why they're doing this hike, and you're going to laugh. You will laugh. I tell you. You will laugh at why they're doing this. Let's
display the understanding that we deserve. And lastly is to encourage energy consumption management by consumers. One bitter truth that we also need to tell ourselves as Nigerians. We are all Nigerians. A few people are only privileged to sit on the high table there. We are on the same level. We must be able to talk the truth to ourselves. We don't have the culture of consumption management in this country in terms of power, just because of the cheapness of the tariff we pay out. A lot of people come back from work, they want to have dinner, or they want to play with their colleagues down the road. They switch on the AC for the room to be cooling before they come back. Yes, some people will be going to work in the morning. The freezer has been left on for days. They will still leave it on when all the items in the freezer are already frozen. And 5, 6, 8 hours of their absence will not make it to the freeze. They will still leave it. It will continue power just because we are not paying enough. We've all been overseas before. We know how conscious the power consumers are to consumption of electricity. Thank you very much.
I don't know if you noticed the protest from the people when he started speaking about things he doesn't know. And then the guy sitting to his right was like, nah, he don't know law, but here, stop. And then you now say thank you, whatever. So I don't even know where to start interpreting this one. Number one, let me tell you where we are, right? People overseas, they don't turn off their freezers when they leave for work. You know why? There's this thing they call thermostat that is in every freezer or every fridge that maintains the temperature to what you have set it. Okay. So when you turn on your freezer and you leave it, when it gets to the temperature you've set it, it will maintain that temperature. It will not keep running. When the temperature increases, the only thing that is running is using minimal power, which is the thermostat. So when the temperature reaches, and some of them are not even electronic, some of them are mechanical. So when the temperature reaches to some level, they will activate or actuate. And when they do, then the freezer will come on again, the compressor will come on again. That's the portion that takes power will come on again. The other one that takes power is when you open it, the bulbs. There are switches, mechanical switches that activate and make the bulb light up so you can see what is inside. So if you left it closed and the temperature has reached, it will maintain that temperature. Only the thermostat is sensing. If it's an electronic thermostat, it will be using some power, but very, very minimal. If it is mechanical thermostat, then it just moves, and when it reaches to some curvature, it will activate, actuate, and then the compressor comes on. So they don't run all the time. Now, if you're in Lagos and you're going to work, many of you will leave home around 5 a.m. to go to work. And sometimes because of traffic, you will not get back home again until 1 a.m. the next day. So you've been away from home for 20 hours. If you've turned your freezer off, everything would have defrosted by the time you come back, and certain things will go bad. And you have to know, if you have enough money to buy a freezer, you probably have some money to put things in it. And if you put the things that should be in the freezer and you let them thaw, defrost all the time, they will go bad. So let's not stop talking about things we don't know. And when you talk about, the people living overseas, yeah, we actually live overseas. We don't do that. We don't turn off the freezer. Those things, they control themselves. You leave them alone. Give the people the power. That's just one aspect. The other one is these guys are using prepaid meter. They're supposed to be using prepaid meter, which means they've already purchased it. What's your business? It's not like they're throwing things out on the street and making the street go bad. No, they've already paid for it. Your job, because you're not even producing enough, you have only 4,000 megawatts of electricity in a country of 220 million people. And I don't even know how much you're transmitting out of that. Concentrate on production, distribution, transmission, and distribution, and then let the people control how much they want to spend, if they want to have a freezer or they don't want to have a freezer. So all these things we're doing, we should have people mindset. We should think about our people and not to suffocate the people and not to kill the people. Let's not kill the people. Let's care about the people. I think that's what it should be. Let's care about the people. Let's not make life difficult for them. We need to care about our people, right? See what they went through just in a few months. In a few months, what the people went through. They went from paying 198 naira per liter to paying 700 in some places per liter. If that's not punishment, I don't know. I don't know what is. So why do we do this to our people? And now, fuel subsidy. Now electricity tariff increase. Let me show you something. I saw this and you just broke my heart. And I'm showing you official rate. Of course, this is not by any means what is real. But let's just look at this. This just breaks my heart. So by 2010, 2010 they were doing 150 2010 is like just like yesterday. 2010 was in power, Yar'Adua or so. Then Jonathan, and then 2015. Let's go to 2015. That's Buhari. 2015. Uh, 2015 Buhari. So it was T2 204. 2017. So there was a time that it, things began to go very bad, and Osinbanjo came in and stabilized it. So this spike here, I think Buhari was 2015. Yeah, he came into power May 2015. Yeah, somewhere around here. Yeah. So then there was this little spike here when he was ill, or before he went out. He was still in the country. Things started going bad, and then they handed over to Simbanjo, and he put a bottom on it, and the thing stopped. And then he came back again. He went up a little bit, but I think they figured out they can't let it keep slipping because the people are already looking at them and saying, "Is it that you guys don't know what you're doing? How come Simbanjo was able to put a bottom to it, and you guys are letting it slip again?" So they let it stabilize. So 2019, that was still them, right? Then 2023, let's just go to 2023. So 2023, February, it was still them, Buhari. Then April 2023, still 400 and something. But look at what happened. May is still 20, 460 something. June, they're already in power. May 2023, this guy's already in power, 464. And then all of a sudden, September, 700 plus. And then all of a sudden is 1,000 plus. 1,400. This guy's inherited it around 400 plus. Well, it was they inherited it around 460. 460. And now it's 1,400 and something. 1,500 sometimes. What did the people do to you guys? These are some of the things I'm talking about. And I told you guys we're going to do some math. So let's do the math. Let's just use Google to do it. So we are saying that someone is paying 66 naira, and we are being told that this amount is 30%. So this amount is 30%. That's what it's telling us. And so they are paying 70%. So how much is this 70%? So how much is this 70%? So it's gonna be 66 multiplied by 70. All right. So divided by 30. So they are telling us that the full amount is 152. Maybe I'm wrong, but if this is 70%, so you now add the 66 that you were paying before, so 220. So the full amount was supposed to be 220, not 225. So they put extra 5 just for doing the math for you, because I'm thinking that let's assume it is 220, right? So 220, so multiply by 0.3, that's 30%. Yeah. So it's 220, not 225. So that's the full amount. Anyways, we've done the math for them. So they were paying, let's just say divided by 30%, 0.3. So let's multiply that by 0.7. So that's how much they're paying for you, 154. They're paying for you 154 and not 159. So I don't know where they got the extra 5 naira, but they're the ones telling us the rate. So that's up to them. So I'm going to end it here, ladies and gentlemen. And before we end it, before I sign out, I want somebody to say something to us. Somebody that we know in the society, somebody that is also involved in this. I need him to say a word, and I want him to have the final say. And while I bring him on, I want you guys to like, share, comment, subscribe. Because let us all have our voices. Let us all have our say in this administration, in this government, and in this interpretation. I know this is long, but it is all worth it. It's been a long time I haven't made videos, because when I hear things happening, when I see things happening, I'm just tired. And there are many commentators, and everybody have their own take on these things. And so I just pick and choose when I speak. I was going to do this more frequently, but there's just a lot of heartache that, just keep rehashing them, going over them. It's not just, it's not healthy. This country just breaks my heart in so many ways. So what is happening to the people of Nigeria? It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and we need to give them a break. And I want us to hear it from an authority, somebody who is involved in this government. In fact, the leader of this government. I want him to give us advice on what we must do. So let's take it from him. Let's hear it from him right now.
Let be poor, breathe. Don't suffocate them. We have that responsibility.